Hi, I'm Trent Chapman. I'm Sarah's husband, and she asked me to do a little bit of an intro for her. Um, I thought about, how would I introduce my wife to someone that may not know her or doesn't know her as well as I do. And I guess the one thing that stands out to me is that Sarah is someone who is always striving to be better. And since I married her 16 years ago, she has changed quite a bit. When we first got married, like many young couples, we had a lot of issues with communication and a lot of different expectations around sex. And this obviously caused a lot of frustration in our marriage. And for the first decade, we didn't really work on it. We didn't discuss it. We'd have fights about it, or conversations that would end up with nothing. But then we figured out ways to communicate better. And then Sarah has done a lot to change herself and help me to change myself. And it's been a great experience working with Sarah to learn how to communicate better about topics like sex, like raising our family. And the reason why I think we've put a lot of emphasis and importance on sex is because if you can overcome and master the communication with intimacy, everything else becomes pretty easy in a relationship. And there's two things that I think every husband wants in the relationship. That's the first is every man wants to be wanted by his wife. And to me, what that means is that my wife shows interest in showing love to me in my love language. And most men, physical touch and intimacy is pretty high on the list of their love language. And the other thing that is important to me as a husband that most men also want in their wives is a wife that's confident. I'm sure Sarah will talk about sexy confidence and what that means, but that's something that she embodies. That I look at Sarah and I'm more and more attracted to her as time goes on because I see her confidence increasing and growing. And it's because she follows processes to have more and more confidence in herself, where she doesn't depend or rely on me to be confident. She has that within herself. And so those are two things that are very important to me that I really admire about Sarah, is that she's sexy confident, and she shows me that she wants me and that she wants to be with me. And those are two things that really have strengthened our marriage, is her own confidence and then her willingness to show me that she loves me and cares about me and wants me in the way that I like to receive that feeling of being wanted. One of those things might be initiating sex. Another might just be the way that she shows interest in my interest in what I'm doing. And so there's a lot of different things that I'm sure Sarah will share with you tonight. One of the things that you may not know about her is she wrote a book a few years ago called Mind Strength for Women. And for her, that was a big challenge. She had I guess you'd say, a fear of being a writer or an author. She didn't feel like she was good at writing, and she overcame that by just tackling it head on. And that's one of those things that I love about Sarah, is that when she identifies a weakness, she doesn't let it define her or stop her. She looks for ways to become stronger in that area. So one of the ways that she did that was writing that book. And in the process of doing that, she started to mentor and coach women. And so you're getting a lot of experience from Sarah of not only self-development, but working with other women, helping them to identify how they can improve their marriage and their relationship, how can they improve their communication, how do they improve their self-worth and their self-esteem, so they have that sexy confidence that a husband wants in a wife, and so that they can also improve that communication, that connection in their relationship and their marriage. So I do hope that you enjoy your time with Sarah, that you listen to her and her experience. And she doesn't claim to have all the answers, but she has made a lot of progress and made a lot of changes that I look up to and admire in her. And I think that's why I find her so sexy and confident. She's always working on herself and becoming a better person. So have a good evening with Sarah, a good time with her. Ask questions, and take advantage of her knowledge and her exploring and learning more about how to increase intimacy and connection in your marriage.